Heartwarming twist, single mom's text to billionaire reveals amazing connection over twins. In the vibrant suburb of Maplewood, a simple text sparks an extraordinary connection. Sarah, a devoted single mom, exhausted but hopeful, juggles her hectic life a whirlwind of school runs and bedtime stories for her spirited 6-year-old twins, Mia and Lila. Day in, day out, she lives the American dream, the struggle of keeping her family afloat while nurturing her daughter's bright minds. Tough times have left their mark, and as she stares at the bills piling up, the panic grips her heart like a tightening vice. Then, everything changes. A misdial sparks an unexpected friendship when Sarah accidentally sends a heartfelt plea about saving the community center to Ethan, a reclusive billionaire who has long kept himself at arm's length from family and the community. Initially taken aback, Ethan feels a strange longing as he reads her message. He imagines the chaos swirling around Sarah, the giggling of twins echoing through the house, the exhaustion smudged across her face. It's a world he has distanced himself from but can't help but connect to. Their text conversations blossom, stitching their lives together in remarkable ways. With each exchange, Ethan sees through the fog of his isolation, as Sarah's words hold a mirror to his own loneliness and yearning for connection. Soon, his towering mansion seems less like a fortress and more like a cage, whispering reminders of the life he is no longer part of. Sarah's resilience ignites a spark within him, urging him to step outside his gilded cage. One late night, with the house still and Mia and Lila tucked in, Sarah stares at her phone, heart racing as Ethan proposes a fundraiser for the community center. In her mind, only hope dances, a lively carnival of laughter, joy, and togetherness that a family-centered center can unleash. It's a chance for community revival, a way to lift the burden from her family and others. But as they plan together, a misunderstanding creeps in. Sarah begins to wonder if the billionaire's heart is truly in the right place. Is he really invested in Maplewood, or merely polishing his public image? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Tension mounts as the day of the fundraiser looms. With every plan decluttered and emotions bubbling just beneath the surface, Sarah and Ethan narrow their eyes at each other, thoughts spinning. Heated words bring discomfort, revealing the profound misunderstandings and lingering fears about wealth, class, and the very essence of family. Unspoken truths float in the air, urging them closer to a painful confrontation. Just when they seem ready to mend, disaster strikes, a setback that threatens both their friendship and the very future of the community center. In a split second, everything stands on the edge. Will Sarah allow vulnerability to seep in, while Ethan finds strength in embracing his past? As the chaos unfolds, their shared dream has never felt so fragile, casting shadows that demand answers. In those moments of uncertainty, the true battle for understanding begins. Will they find common ground or allow miscommunication to tear them apart forever? As the sun began to rise over Maplewood, the morning light poured into Sarah's kitchen, illuminating the scattered papers and quickly scribbled notes for the fundraiser. She stood there, coffee steaming in her mug, her heart still heavy from last night's argument with Ethan. The thought of him felt complicated, part hope, part heartache. Too many uncertainties twisted in her mind, like shadows keeping her awake long into the night. Mia and Lila's giggles soon filled the air, cutting through her thoughts. The twins bounded into the room, full of energy and delight, oblivious to the tension swirling like a storm cloud above their mother. Sarah smiled at them, pushing aside her worries as best she could. "Okay, girls. What do you want for breakfast?" Amidst their demands for pancakes and fruit, Sarah's phone buzzed on the counter. Her heart skipped a beat when she saw Ethan's name flash across the screen. She hesitated but picked it up anyway, her fingers trembling as she opened the message. "Sarah, I know things got heated, but I want to help. I'm coming to the fundraiser. Let us work this out. Relief washed over her, mingling with a fresh wave of anxiety. Was this a genuine offer, or a last-ditch effort to save his image? Trust felt like a fragile thing right now. She sent back a quick reply, hoping to keep her sentiments guarded but still engaging. Great. I'll see you there. With their plans for the community center hanging precariously, the realization hit her that she was not just fighting for herself but for the entire community, for the friends she'd cherish and the memories they could create. The twins giggled, their laughter somehow a balm for her growing worries. As the day wore on, the fundraiser became a whirlwind of activity. Community members gathered at the park, setting up booths and decorations. Banners flapped gently in the breeze, and the scent of cotton candy wafted through the air. Sarah moved about, a smile plastered on her face, though her heart raced with trepidation at what lay ahead, and then he arrived. Ethan stepped out of his car, his posture tall and confident, yet there was a softness in his eyes that made her heart flutter. He clenched his jaw, scanning the surroundings with curiosity. When their gazes met, she felt a spark, an unspoken understanding woven through their history of messages. "Hey," he greeted, stepping closer. The warmth of his presence was familiar, yet still startling. "Thanks for coming," she managed. "I'm glad you're here." They began walking through the crowd, and despite the lively chatter around them, a magnetic tension lingered in the air. They passed a booth with handmade crafts, and Lila pulled at Sarah's arm, her tiny fingers pointing excitedly. "Look, Mommy. Can we get that?" While Sarah set off with her daughters to explore, Ethan trailed behind, letting himself soak in the joy of family he had kept at arm's length for so long. But as moments ticked by, shadows of doubt crept back in. He needed to prove he wasn't just a distant billionaire offering charity. He wanted to show them he cared, not out of obligation, but out of genuine connection. As the sun began to dip lower in the sky, an unexpected downpour drenched the festival. Gasps erupted from the crowd as vendors hurriedly rushed to protect their stalls. In a flurry of activity, chaos ensued, causing confusion to sweep through the park. Sarah grabbed Mia and Lila, shielding them from the rain with her own body. Ethan reached for Sarah, his eyes wide with concern. "We need to get the kids to safety." Her heart raced, and just as they turned to flee toward the nearby pavilion, the thunderous roar of laughter erupted from the gathering crowd. People started to dance, reveling in the moment, rain-soaked and carefree. Glancing at Ethan, she saw him smile amidst the chaos, and for the first time, Sarah felt the weight of their misunderstandings fade just a little. What came next, however, was not just a fight against the elements. It was a chance to face their uncertainties head-on and embrace the storm together. Could they weather it? And come out stronger on the other side? As she looked into Ethan's eyes, a kaleidoscope of emotions swirled: hope, fear, and possibility. The night was just starting, and so was their journey. Would this storm bring them closer, or tear them apart once and for all? The rain continued to pour, creating a symphony of splashes against the ground. For most, chaos gripped their hearts. But within Sarah, an unexpected warmth blossomed. The sight of Ethan, his hair slicked back, that hesitant smile still lingering, made her feel as if they were part of something bigger than just the storm at hand. "Mommy, look!" Mia squealed, pointing at the makeshift dance floor that had sprung up amidst the downpour. A few brave souls twirled and skipped, their laughter rising above the booming thunder. It was infectious. Lila jumped in place, giggling, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Without realizing it, Sarah let go of her worries. "You girls want to dance?" "Yes." They squealed in unison, tugging on her arms like happy little tornadoes. Ethan chuckled lightly, his gaze flicking between Sarah and the twins. "I'm not sure how this is going to go." "Come on." Sarah laughed, pulling him along. The three of them burst onto the soggy ground like a trio of little rainbows. Laughter echoed around them, mixing with the rhythm of the rain. As they twirled and stomped through puddles, Ethan stepped in closer, joining their impromptu dance. It was silly and joyous, a childlike freedom enveloping them all. For a moment, life outside this festive chaos vanished. Just the four of them existed: Sarah, Ethan, Mia, and Lila, but in the back of her mind, a flicker of doubt lingered. Watching Ethan in this light, the heaviness of their past misunderstandings still loomed. Was it possible he truly wanted this connection? Or was it merely a fleeting moment inspired by the rain? Then, as if reading her thoughts, Ethan dipped down, hand extended toward Lila, inviting her to twirl. "Let us show your mom our best moves." His face radiated genuine joy as the little girl giggled and complied. Every laugh, every splash, brought forth memories of shared smiles. Yet, the echo of their unresolved feelings still clung to the air around them. She looked at him, at that confident frame dulled by the rain, and admired how freely he engaged with her daughters. Did he realize how fortunate he was to connect with them this way? Then something shifted. The storm started to lighten, and the world around them began shimmering under fresh rain. With the rain easing into a soft drizzle, the laughter of the community swirled around them. "Let us catch our breath," Ethan suggested, stepping away from the dance floor. He led them toward a small sheltered area beneath a tree drenched in leaves, a natural umbrella against the remnants of rain. They huddled together, the three of them giggling, breathless with joy. But internally, Sarah felt the battle within herself raging. She didn't want to push him away, but vulnerabilities felt like an open wound. "Sarah," Ethan began, his voice steady yet gentle, "I know we have a lot to talk about. But I want you to know how much I admire you. It's so beautiful to see you with your girls." Sarah swallowed hard, her emotions swirling again. "I've always tried to do my best for them." "It matters," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "But what if I want to help?" He countered, stepping forward, earnestness glazing his gazes. "Not just today. Moving forward together." Her heart raced at his words. Could they really navigate this storm of feelings? As those words hung in the air, flickers of hope ignited in her chest. What came next was a pivotal moment for them both, a bridge that could either draw them closer or let them drift apart again. Before Sarah could respond, a sudden clap of thunder resonated above, and the girls squealed, clinging to her sides. But deep down, she knew the real thunder was within her. This decision could change everything. "So, what now?" she finally asked, her voice trembling with uncertainty. The next chapter of their story teetered on the brink, like the fading rain. Would they leap into new possibilities or retreat into old habits? The answer breezed past them, swirling in the air like a dance waiting to be embraced. The rain began to subside, and the sound of laughter became more prominent in the clearing. Sarah felt the weight of the moment pressing against her chest. Ethan's eyes were searching hers, and the warmth of their shared connection sparked something deep within her. Mia tugged at her mother's sleeve, her little face glowing with excitement. "Mommy, can we go back to our dance?" "Yeah. Let us have a dance party." Lila chimed in, bouncing on her toes. Their innocence filled Sarah with a sense of clarity, reminding her of the love that had always fueled her as a mother. Ethan smiled down at the girls. "How could we resist? Let us show the world our best moves." With that, he took their hands, spinning them around as Sarah watched, her heart swelling. Ethan's laughter melded with the sound of the rain-soaked earth. It felt right, so right that for a moment, Sarah allowed herself to imagine a life reshaped by this very moment. Yet, doubts crawled back in. Could it be real? Did he truly mean what he said? The past loomed large in her mind, filled with those long, uncomfortable silences and the pain of their last encounter. Would he stay when the novelty faded? She wiped an errant tear from the corner of her eye, lost in a whirlpool of feelings. Everything felt brighter as they danced, the girls squealing with joy. Suddenly, the clouds parted, allowing rays of golden sunlight to pierce through. It was as if the universe itself was encouraging them to embrace this impromptu happiness. "Look at that!" Ethan exclaimed, pointing up. "A rainbow. I'd say that means we're doing something right." A rainbow, a promise of hope. Sarah couldn't help but smile. That's a good sign. Their laughter drew nearby neighbors, who joined in, filling the small patch of grass with joyous energy. The atmosphere buzzed with a communal spirit, a reminder of a world that thrived together. Feeling the crowd's energy, Ethan leaned closer to Sarah, his voice hushed amid the laughter. I know this isn't a solution, but I'd like to start fresh moving forward, just us, if you'd let me. Her heart skipped at his words, longing to believe but afraid to hope. I want that, too, she confessed, vulnerability spilling from her lips. But what happens when all this excitement fades? We still have everything else to sort through. He nodded slowly, the sincerity in his eyes unwavering. Then let us figure it out together. No matter how tough it gets. I don't want to walk away this time. Just then, a little girl hopped into their circle, drenched but smiling. She looked up at Sarah with wide eyes. Can I dance with you guys? Of course. Sarah replied, motioning for her to join. Laughter erupted again as they all began to twirl together, the rhythm of the rain long forgotten, replaced with joy that swelled in their hearts. In that moment, time felt suspended. For Sarah, it wasn't just about the dance or the fleeting joy of the rain, it was the chance to reclaim her life, to invite Ethan into their lives again. But as the dancing slowed, an unfamiliar face appeared in the distance, looking their way with curious eyes. The uneasiness returned, twisting in her stomach like a storm. Who's that? Ethan murmured, glancing over. Sarah followed his gaze, her heart quickening. The mysterious figure was making its way towards them, expression unreadable. Suddenly, the world felt much bigger, and the dance lost some of its magic. What did this new arrival mean? Would this stranger bring clarity or chaos into their fragile moment? The weight of uncertainty lingered, heavy and real. The next step in their journey lay ahead, veiled in shadows that danced like the fading rain. What lay beneath the surface of that unexpected visitor's approach? As the figure stepped closer, Sarah's heart raced. The stranger was a woman, tall and confidently walking through the gathering, with wavy hair that framed her striking features. A glint of recognition sparked in Sarah's mind, but she couldn't quite place it. Who is she? Sarah whispered, her voice hardly a murmur against the laughter that surrounded them. Ethan squinted, his brow furrowed in thought. I don't know. But she looks familiar. The woman stopped just outside the circle, her eyes zeroing in on Ethan. For a brief moment, silence hung in the air. Laughter faded, and a sense of tension replaced it. The children continued dancing, blissfully unaware of the sudden shift in atmosphere. Ethan? The woman called, her voice melodic yet edged with urgency. He took a step forward, his expression suddenly serious. Zoe? Sarah's stomach twisted. Zoe? The name echoed like a jarring note, bringing with it the weight of past conversations and buried feelings. Zoe smiled, but there was something in her eyes, excitement mixed with apprehension. I thought it was you. I didn't expect to find you here. Yeah, it's been a long time, Ethan replied, the warmth of his voice tinged with caution. Feeling like a spectator in her own life, Sarah searched Ethan's face, grasping for a hint of what this reunion meant. The laughter around them felt distant as she examined Ethan's reaction. Would he break into a smile and recall happy memories, or would he retreat into the lingering unease of their past? Zoe stepped forward, her attention darting between Ethan and the girls dancing, blissfully unaware of the adult drama unfolding. I heard you and the kids were in town. I just wanted to see if you were okay. Okay? Ethan's tone shifted, tinged with disbelief. What do you mean? I've been worried, Zoe replied, her sincerity evident. I didn't know about everything that happened. I only saw the news reports. The crowd began to murmur, curiosity piqued around the sudden tension. Sarah felt exposed under their scrutiny, her heart racing as she weighed the stranger's intentions. What news reports? Sarah found her voice, sharp and protective. What do you know? Zoe's gaze flickered toward Sarah, then softened. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to intrude. I thought maybe Ethan would like to talk. We were close once, remember? Close once. The words hung heavily, the bitter tang of jealousy mixing with Sarah's deepening anxiety. Beside her, Ethan shifted uneasily. We're talking now, he said, his voice firm but uncertain. The unshed tears brimmed in Sarah's eyes, fueled by confusion and frustration. It felt like chaos wrapped in a dance party. She had finally begun to imagine a future with Ethan, yet here stood a ghost from his past, ready to rehash what she thought they had left behind. Mia and Lila twirled innocently, their laughter ringing like chimes in the air, blissfully unaware of their mother's distress. Maybe we should take this somewhere else, Zoe suggested, glancing around at the gathering crowd. No. Ethan interjected. Whatever it is, it can't take away from this moment. But Sarah's heart raced in stark contrast to his words. More than the embarrassment of confrontation, she felt fear creeping steadily into the cracks of her heart. Ethan, she began, but he held up a hand, earnestness etched on his face. Let us just talk. About everything. Her breath caught in her throat, the air thick with anxiety. Could they really have a conversation when the weight of history was pressing them down? As Zoe stepped closer, Sarah felt the world narrowing around her. Was she about to lose him again? Could he really stay this time, or was she holding on to a flicker from the past? With the sun finally breaking through the clouds, illuminating everything around them, Sarah found herself wrestling with an overwhelming realization. Everything she felt was threatened by this unexpected encounter. But as she gathered her courage, she wondered what truths had Zoe come to share. The stakes had just risen, and the dance was far from over. What if this moment became the turning point for all their lives? As Zoe stepped closer, the tension pulsed in the air, and Sarah found herself teetering between fear and frustration. Ethan's resolve was tangible, but Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that this moment could tilt their lives in a direction she wasn't ready for. Zoe, I appreciate your concern, Ethan said, his voice steady but gentle, but now probably isn't the best time for a deep conversation. Zoe's expression shifted, hurt flashing across her face. I understand. But I came here because I felt you both deserved to know I've been thinking a lot about everything. The crowd had edged closer, their whispers dancing around them like leaves in the wind. Sarah could feel every gaze on her, the weight pressing against her chest. She could hardly breathe, and the bubbly atmosphere of the gathering felt suffocating. What do you mean, thinking about everything? Ethan asked, a hint of desperation creeping into his tone. Zoe glanced to the side, as if weighing her words carefully. I didn't realize how much had happened in your life. The accidents, the reports, finding some peace. I wanted to see if you were really okay. If you wanted to talk about the past. The past. The word cut through Sarah like a knife. Memories of painful arguments, fleeting embraces, and long nights alone fought for space in her mind. It stung to know that their past haunted them still, and this woman was bringing it all back into the light. It's complicated, Ethan replied, his brow furrowing again. We're in a better place now. Right, Sarah? His eyes searched hers, but she could only feel a hollow ache blooming in her chest. How could they be in a better place when his past was standing right in front of them, waiting to pull him back? I really didn't mean to create any drama, Zoe said softly, raising her hand slightly in a gesture that looked almost pleading. I just wanted to check in, to support my old friend. I didn't want to disrupt anything or anyone. Ethan nodded slowly, a flicker of understanding in his eyes. I know. But we're building something new here, Zoe. Sarah and we've got a good thing going. The assurance in his words made her heart flutter and plummet at the same time. Yes, they were building something. But how solid could that foundation be when there were cracks made from shared histories, doubts, and resurfaced feelings? Mia and Lila, Zoe began, her gaze softening as she looked at the girls playing, still oblivious to the storm brewing around them. Are they happy? They are, Sarah spoke up, surprising herself with her sudden boldness. They're happy. And that's all that matters. There was a moment of silence as Zoe absorbed this, a strange expression breaking across her face, admiration laced with sadness. I only came to check. You both have such lovely children. I want what's best for all of you. We appreciate that, Ethan said, but Sarah sensed an invisible line drawn between them, thrumming under the surface, yet still unacknowledged. Maybe it's best if we just part ways here, Sarah suggested, nervously biting her lip. Perhaps this was a mistake. Ethan's eyes widened, and she could see the conflict in his gaze. What do you mean? Is that what you want? Her voice trembled, the weight of Zoe's presence making it hard for her to think straight. I can't lose you too. Before Ethan could respond, Zoe spoke up, her voice surprisingly steady. I didn't come to take anything away from you. I promise. But maybe, just maybe, I can help you both find closure. Sarah's heart raced as she processed the words. Closure? Could they truly face the past without it dragging them down again? Or would it lead them further apart? In that moment, as Zoe's gaze met Sarah's, a new question materialized in the air, one that lingered, heavy, unspoken. What if facing the truth meant they could finally find peace? As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the gathering, Sarah felt the world shift around her. The dance floor welcomed all who would engage, but what if they danced around their own truths for too long? What lay ahead could either mend their broken pieces or shatter them further. Where would this unexpected journey take them next? The atmosphere buzzed with tension. Sarah felt it grip her heart, squeezing hard as she looked between Ethan and Zoe. Each moment stretched, weighted by unsaid emotions and flickers of recognition. Ethan's jaw tightened, uncertainty etched into his features. Closure? He echoed. What do you mean by that? Zoe stepped back slightly, her eyes darting around as if searching for the right words in the crowd. It's about giving yourselves a chance to sit with the things that hurt, the things we didn't address. Sometimes, closure is all it takes to step forward. Sarah clenched her fists, the words swirling in her mind. Was it really that easy? Could they just confront their pasts and magically feel complete? It felt dangerously naive, yet appealing at the same time. Ethan finally spoke, his voice low and steady. We've both moved on, Zoe. We have families, lives filled with joy. Why would we want to revisit the pain? It doesn't make sense. But what if it can help? Zoe countered, her tone softening, almost pleading. I didn't think much about this until now, but sometimes the weight of unspoken regrets holds us back in ways we don't even realize. I came here wanting to make sure you're both okay, knowing that you're happy. Sarah's breath caught at her words. Happy. Wasn't that what they had been striving for? But what if there were shadows lurking, hidden beneath the brightness of their laughter? The memories danced on the edge of her consciousness, old wounds that had scarcely healed. Conflicted, she glanced over at Ethan, whose eyes shimmered with questions mirroring her own. Let's be honest, Sarah said, her voice shaky but resolute. We can't just forget the past. Maybe we do need to talk, but I can't predict what that will unleash. Zoe nodded slowly, a hint of relief washing over her features. It was a fragile truce, but it was a start. Fair enough. I wouldn't have come here if I didn't believe we could find a light in the darkness. Sarah felt a sudden rush of defiance surge through her. She wanted to reclaim some power, some agency over this moment. Then let us talk. But let us do it away from here. We owe it to ourselves and to our kids to see this through. I agree, Ethan replied, his voice steadying. If we're going to face the past, it needs to be with our eyes open, not in front of an audience. An involuntary sigh escaped Sarah's lips. She wished she hadn't suggested it, but now they were in this together. She had opened the door, and it was their choice whether to step through it or not. "All right," Zoe said, her tone firm, yet gentle. "Let us meet just the three of us. No interruptions. We'll figure this out." As the conversation flowed like heavy currents around them, Sarah felt a weight lift ever so slightly. The unknown lay ahead, but at least they were willing to plunge into it together. One step at a time, but just as Sarah felt a flicker of hope spark within her, she spotted the shimmer of something metallic on Zoe's wrist, a bracelet. It had an unmistakable charm, one she recognized all too well. It had been a gift, given in better times, from Ethan to his first love. "Where did you get that?" Sarah interrupted, a confusion knotting her stomach. I've seen that before." Zoe paused, her expression shifting as she looked down at her wrist, and everything fell silent. The atmosphere turned electric, as if the unspoken unresolved feelings were rushing in to rush around them once more. "This?" Zoe hesitated, her fingers brushing against the charm. "It was a gift from Ethan years ago." The words hung like a cloud above them, heavy with consequence. Sarah's heart raced, and dread clawed at her insides. What did this mean for them? Was this the final stroke that could crumble everything they built? Ethan's face was conflicted, an emotional storm brewing beneath the surface. As Sarah looked at him, she felt the ground beneath her tremble. Would this revelation spark a flame of anger or ignite the path to closure they were longing for? What truth lay waiting in the shadows of their intertwined past? The silence stretched, a taut line pulling hard at Sarah's chest. The bracelet shimmered under the light, mocking the tension that had gathered between them. Zoe's fingers trembled slightly as she continued to touch the charm. Sarah felt an inexplicable wave of jealousy swell within her, mixing awkwardly with memories of the past. "Ethan," she started, her voice almost a whisper, not wanting to shatter the fragile moment. The weight of truth pressed down on her. "Why didn't you tell me?" Ethan looked at her, his expression a blend of shame and vulnerability. "I thought it was in the past, something not worth bringing up. I wanted to focus on what we have now," he replied. Zoe opened her mouth to respond, but the words faltered. She stood like a bridge between two shores, its stability wavering under the rising tide of emotions. "Then why keep it?" Sarah shot back, her heart hammering in her ears. If it meant so little, why wear it at all? The accusation came out sharper than she intended, echoing the insecurities that gnawed at her. "It's not what you think. It's just a reminder of a time we had, one I've moved on from, I swear." Zoe squared her shoulders, determination seeping into her voice. "But we all carry pieces of the past, Ethan. It's part of who we are. I didn't come here to disrupt your lives, but maybe those pieces could help us find closure." "Closure," Sarah echoed, almost bitterly. The word hung between them, heavy and complex. What does closure even look like? How do we take these old scars and make them clean? Ethan stepped forward, his gaze intense. "We acknowledge them. We talk. For too long, we've tiptoed around what hurt us. But maybe it's time to stop running from it and face it head-on." "A heart-to-heart?" Zoe asked, her eyes brightening slightly at the prospect. "More like a heart-to-heart-to-heart," Sarah muttered, reluctantly smiling at the absurdity of their situation. The three of them were tangled in a web of past emotions, and yet here they were, choosing to confront it together, awkwardly but purposefully. The tension started to ease, just a little. They needed each other to navigate this maze, fragile but hopeful. "Okay," Sarah said, taking a deep breath. "Let us do it." "When and where?" "How about my house?" Ethan offered. "A more private space. Just us to get it all out there." The choice settled around them like a protective cocoon, a place for healing, yet still raw with uncertainty. Sarah nodded, the decision made. This wasn't just about them, it would also touch the lives of their children, urging them to understand the significance of honesty and resolution. Zoe looked at each of them, her expression softening. Just remember, no matter what happens, we're all on the same side. You both mean a lot to me. Barely processed emotions flowed through Sarah. How strange to feel solidarity in a moment that could easily become a battlefield. But clarity glimmered beneath the surface. As they spoke about logistics, a feeling settled in Sarah's stomach, one she didn't quite know how to put into words. It felt like stepping onto a train, unsure of the destination but trusting the journey. Do either of you really know what you'll say? Sarah's voice cut through the chatter, as the question landed heavily. What if they opened old wounds instead of healing them? Ethan glanced at Zoe. I guess we'll figure it out when we get there. Will we? Sarah challenged, her heart pounding. What if we unleash something we can't control? What if it destroys everything? A prolonged silence set in again. Each of them leaned on the other, wary but ready, the shadows of the past swirling just out of reach. A simmering mix of fear and excitement hung in the air. The clock ticked in the background, a reminder of the time they had lost. With a shared look, all three knew there was no turning back now. But what awaited them on the other side of honesty? Would the embrace of their truth bring peace or chaos? Only time would tell, and it was a leap they were prepared to take. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across Ethan's living room. He tidied up nervously, glancing at the clock again. It was almost time. He could feel the weight of anticipation in his chest, a mix of urgency and anxiety. This wasn't just a casual get-together, it felt like preparing for a storm. Sarah arrived first, her expression unreadable as she entered. She offered a tight, polite smile, which faded quickly. Hey, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Hey, Ethan replied, nodding. Glad you could make it. As he led her inside, he noticed how quiet the house felt. It was filled with memories but also silence, thick and heavy. Zoe showed up just moments later, her warmth radiating through the doorway. Okay, deep breaths, she said, trying to break the tension. We're in this together. Right, Sarah replied, but her nerves were evident in the slight tremor of her voice, a stark contrast to Zoe's confident demeanor. They shared a look, a silent agreement that this wouldn't be easy. Ethan offered them drinks, a nervous habit he had developed. As he poured iced tea into glasses, he could feel their eyes on him, scanning for hints of reassurance, perhaps. But he had none to offer. He sank into the sofa, the weight of their past pressing down around them. Zoe sat beside him, while Sarah took a place across from them. The three of them formed a triangle of emotions, both supportive and fraught with tension. Okay, Ethan broke the silence, feeling the urgency mount. I think we need to start by talking about the bracelet. The charm on Zoe's bracelet caught the light and shimmered again, almost taunting them. It's a reminder, Zoe explained quietly, her fingers brushing over the charms. Of the good times Ethan and I shared. I never meant for it to come between us. Sarah clenched her fists in her lap, a fire igniting inside her. Then why not just tell me? Why the secrecy? Because it was complicated. Ethan shot back, frustration creeping into his voice. I didn't want to hurt you. I thought if I just kept it in the past, we could move forward. But the past doesn't work like that, does it? Sarah challenged, her eyes narrowing. It hides beneath the surface, waiting for a moment to explode. And here we are. A tense silence fell upon them. Zoe's expression flickered with concern, and she leaned in. We can't change what has happened, but we can understand it together. Understand? Sarah scoffed, though her heart was racing. What if understanding leads to more hurt? Or worse, what if it unravels everything we've built? Ethan reached out, his hand brushing hers. We can't control how we feel, but we can control how we deal with it. Isn't that the lesson we want to teach our kids? That made Sarah pause. The thought of their children, innocent and unaware, tugged at her heart. They deserved to see their parents handle emotions honestly, even if it got messy. Then let us do this, Sarah breathed, resolutely. All of it. The truth. The hurt. Everything. Zoe nodded, her eyes brightening. Yes. This is our chance to make things right. Let us air out the old wounds so we can heal. Ethan took a deep breath, feeling the shift in the room. Okay, let us start with the hardest thing. Sarah, can you tell me how you really feel about me wearing that bracelet? The question seemed simple, yet the room crackled with tension. Sarah felt exposed, as though every thought and emotion were laid bare. This was it, the moment they'd all been avoiding. Her heart raced as she searched for the right words, knowing that honesty now carried the power to change everything. What was she willing to reveal? As the silence stretched again, she realized that this could either deepen their connection or shatter it entirely. She opened her mouth, ready to let everything spill out, but would the truth that emerged be what they hoped for? Or would it be a catalyst for destruction? The answer lingered, tantalizingly close, yet still uncertain. As the living room hung in heavy silence, Sarah felt the weight of 1,000 unsaid words pressing against her chest. She took a deep breath, gathering her courage. The momentum needed to take this leap was crackling, like the air just before a storm. Ethan, she began, her voice steady despite the war raging inside her. Seeing you wear that bracelet. It made me question everything. How could you have moved on from your past while still holding on to a piece of it? She paused, searching his eyes for understanding. It felt like a shadow one I couldn't escape. Ethan listened intently, his gaze unwavering. I never meant for it to hurt you, Sarah. It was just a thing from my past, a reminder of moments I thought were long gone. I thought leaving it unmentioned would let us rebuild without the weight of my history. But history matters, Ethan. She snapped, emotion bubbling to the surface. Ignoring it won't make it disappear. I fought so hard for my little family. I thought we were building something real. As she spoke, Sarah saw Zoe's expression shift. It was clear she understood the nuance of their conversation, how much they all had to untangle. You were the one who helped me connect with my own heart again, Ethan, Zoe added softly, breaking the tension like ice shattering underfoot. And I came here not to disrupt but to help you both find clarity. Her voice held warmth, something Sarah could appreciate during this emotional storm. We all have baggage. It's part of who we are, and until we face it, it'll stay buried but not forgotten. You need to lay it all on the table. Ethan's brows furrowed as he processed her words. So, what are you saying? We should sit here and untangle all the mess in front of us? Yes. Zoe urged, her energy infectious. Think of it as a conversation. Not just about the bracelet, but about everything that matters. The air thickened as all three wrestled with unshielded truths. Sarah bit her lip, her pulse racing faster. This means diving into emotions and opening wounds we've tucked away. Exactly, Ethan agreed, his voice wavering slightly now filled with resolve. But doing this, we're not just facing our pasts, we're also protecting our family. Mia and Lila still giggled somewhere, oblivious to the unfolding complexity of adult life around them. Their laughter brought a sliver of light into the heavy atmosphere. They deserved to see their parents being real, Sarah admitted, her heart softening. Ethan leaned forward, his determination surfacing, as if the weight of the world shifted. Then let us break it all apart, piece by piece. Together. With a grounding breath, Sarah nodded, her fingers trembling, but this time with purpose. Okay. So, I'll start. And in that moment, the ice melted, the world around them grew clear again. Sarah laid bare her fears, her insecurities, and the profound need for trust woven into the fabric of her heart. As words spilled, energy shifted. Zoe joined the conversation, sharing her history with Ethan, expressing her candid regrets while acknowledging the love that had lingered without possession. "We were beautiful at one time," she spoke with a bittersweet smile. "But I've let that part of my life rest. I realize now that true love is about being selfless." Ethan absorbed her words, his gaze shifting between Sarah and Zoe, grounding himself in the gravity of the moment. "I took you both for granted. I see that now. I felt pulled by both of your lights, but I scrambled to find what I wanted instead of being honest about what I had. It's why I've built walls." As the air thickened with raw honesty, Sarah felt her defenses crack. The exchange nurtured a new space, one full of vulnerability and healing. Each revelation became a brick pulled from the wall, allowing sunlight to bloom into their hearts. Time slipped away as they shared stories and fears, laughter and tears pouring out freely. There was no judgment, just acceptance, the foundation of love they all built on. Finally, as closing thoughts wove between them, Sarah dared to look up at Ethan. "What if this changes everything? What if facing our truth tears us apart?" Ethan reached out, his hand clasping hers. "We won't run from it this time. Whatever comes next, we'll figure it out as a family." With those simple words resonating between them, a sense of fortitude bloomed. Days turned to weeks after that night. The community center's festival grew once more, Thompson family style, wrapped in laughter and vibrant faces. Sarah, Ethan, and Zoe stood together, a united front against whatever the world threw their way. As they reveled in newfound family, both with each other and within their growing children, Sarah felt comfort settle in her heart. Together, they embraced a future filled with endless possibilities. And for the first time, she was convinced of the power of vulnerability, love, and honesty. Now was the time to seize the moment to share, engage, and nurture the very community they had opened their hearts to. So subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. You need to subscribe now. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Comment your reactions and feelings about this heartwarming transformation. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Show your support as only true fans can.